fast you can do agile delivery without moving towards, you know, an automated continuous delivery pipeline, making DevOps, making operations part of the conversation so that we know what's coming, that we can scale for it, and more importantly also getting that metrics feedback loop into the development cycle, which is the biggest area that I think that, you know, because when operations is siloed, you don't have that feedback loop. Does that answer your question? Sort of. Any other questions? Well, they should be good.
Regarding your last question, how much of the workload is finding people moving from Windows to Linux?
How much of our workload is finding people moving from Windows to Linux? Virtually none, I would say. James, correct me if I'm wrong. I would say we're introducing open source tools. We're introducing stuff like Elk Stack to supplement it. We haven't yet gone down the path of taking somebody from, you know, running the .NET CLR on Windows to running the .NET CLR on Linux as yet. So most people are still staying. We're trying to get it better for where they are, because I don't think anybody's completely convinced about .NET on Linux as yet, and or just doesn't support all the things that you might want. Yeah. So? Okay, so the question is, can ITIL and DevOps coexist? Absolutely, 100%. Basically, I mean, I've tweeted about this before, is DevOps is just ITIL with 90% of everything moved into standard change. Okay, so if you come from a DevOps ITIL background, standard change, it's low risk, it's pre-approved, you know how to do it, we've done it before. Okay, so if I've built a continuous delivery pipeline, and you know, from Git at one end to, you know, Octopus deployed into production at the other end, I've got all my automated build, automated CNCD, automated TDD unit testing, automated regression testing. I've got this really solid pipeline. That's virtually the definition of standard change in ITIL. It's a repeatable process that I can do, and I can push that button and know that I'm going to get a known result, a known state. I've got awesome monitoring. If something goes wrong, I get notified about it really quickly. I've got a feedback loop. I've got automated rollback with Octopus deploy. Job done. You know, the very definition of standard change. So, you know, we have a blog article about what's the future of being a release and change manager in a DevOps world. So one, you need to get a new job, because, you know, I absolutely refuse to spend any more of my life, you know, in a weekly CAB meeting. So who still has weekly CAB meetings? Yeah? Yeah? Cool. Cool. Who goes to the weekly CAB meeting, takes their laptop with them, sits down there, does their work, then when somebody says, is this change approved? Or what do you think this change is a good idea? You go, yeah, it's great. And then you go back to some work again. Do you know what I mean? You know, 10 or 15 people in a meeting room, thousands of pounds being spent on a 2-hour CAB meeting that offers no benefit or no value. So for me, the future of the change and release manager is they've got to be like a quality engineer. So they've got to be coming back and saying, if you're building a continuous delivery pipeline, are you making sure that it meets these steps? You know, and they've got to be looking at sampling and making sure that, you know, that stuff's going through the pipeline and nobody's bypassing it. So it's a very different role. Anybody that says that you can do large-scale web operations without a good understanding of ITIL, I think is just smoking curtains, because I don't see why in a DevOps world suddenly I don't need to do capacity management. I don't need to do incident management, problem management, and event management. I don't need to do continual service improvement. All of these things that are kind of pillars of ITIL. I mean, I would, you know, and do, you know, train everybody, you know, to have a basic understanding of the ITIL model, because it's great advice. It's useful stuff. All of those roles and all of those elements of the ITIL cycle are still absolutely critical and absolutely important. It's just don't interpret them as job descriptions. They're things you need to do in a checklist that you need to tick off. But they're not jobs. I don't need a release manager and a change manager and an incident manager and a problem manager and an event manager and a blah, 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 blah. You know, it's a complete waste of time. They're roles, they're part of a checklist. I'm going to automate them as much as possible. Does that make sense?
Time for one more question, I think.
Yep.
The whole DevOps
world in Microsoft sounds fantastic. One of Microsoft's own tools for managing your server or workstation estate is System Center, the SCOM and SCCM. That's brilliant. All these tools look awesome, but I mean, what is Microsoft's plan with their own tools, which are, operating system deployments, is still a overly complex kind of thing?
I'm not the best person to answer that question because I stopped using SCOM when it was still called Microsoft Operations Manager, probably for the same reasons that you were asking the question now. I think we'll kick that one to the panel. We have a Microsoft Tech Evangelist on the panel at the end of the day. I don't know, buy HashiCorp, that would probably be my recommendation. Who uses SCOM and all of the Microsoft sort of tools? Who likes SCOM? Deafening silence and tumbleweeds. Yeah, who thinks it's a steaming pile of... Yeah, I mean, that's another whole area of the open source, the whole monitoring stack, the whole deployment stack. I honestly don't know where Microsoft's going with that, and it's a good question to write it up on the board. Did I tell you about the board outside for questions? Yeah, write it up on the board outside, and we'll see if we can get somebody to answer that. Dave, you don't know much about SCOM roadmap? No. See, how much LMVP doesn't know anything about SCOM? Go figure. That's basically it, guys. So I'm down to the minute. It's 10:31 and we've finished at 10:40. We're going to go straight into the next speaker, which is Peter Mounts, who's a lead engineer at Just Eat. He's going to talk about the DevOps implementation of Just Eat. After that session, we have a coffee break, and then we're going to have John Rukowski from AppDynamics who's going to talk about metrics and measurement. He's going to talk about a thing called situational awareness. So if you want a quick loo break while we change over speakers, nip out and then quickly come back. Yeah? So,